The Diabolical Things Done Against Women by the Apache in the Wild West. Have you heard about the Apache, also known as the Tigers of the Human Species by American generals? They were a fierce warrior tribe from North America who fought to preserve their language, beliefs, and customs in a society that was largely alien to them. But the Apache's history as a nomadic people who centered their lives around the buffalo is often overlooked. In this video, we will dive deep into the diabolical things done against women by the Apache in the Wild West. Stay tuned to discover the strict and chilling laws of the Apaches and the story of one of the most notorious Apache warriors in history, Geronimo. Historians suggest that the Apaches migrated to North America via the Bering Strait and settled in the vast Great Apache region. With a small population that never exceeded 6,000, they divided into subgroups such as Lipan, Mimbreño, Chiricahua, and Mescalero. The lack of a unified policy caused conflicts between the Apache tribes and other nations such as the Americans. While one band of Apaches made peace, another subgroup attacked Spaniards, Mexicans, Americans, and other native tribes. Apache society was composed of extended families who acted independently and were led by the most important member. Only men could lead a band, but women played crucial roles. Apache society was matrilineal, and after marriage the husband moved in with the wife's family. Apache culture included various festivities, mostly dances such as the sunrise dance and the dance of the mountain spear. Historically, the Apaches and the neighboring groups traded peacefully, exchanging crops and pottery for buffalo meat and hides. This arrangement was disrupted by the arrival of the Spanish, who monopolized trade and harmed the economic balance of the region. Strict and chilling Apache laws. The Apaches valued their connection to the land and nature and upheld sacred customs and laws. They strictly adhere to rules, whether it's during a festival or a battle. If there is a conflict between tribe members that can't be resolved personally, it is brought before the chieftain and a trial is held. The accused and accuser can present as many witnesses as they like and speak freely without interruption. If found not guilty, the accused cannot take personal revenge. The Apaches also follow strict codes of conduct, such as not harming animals or enemies near the Salt Lake, a sacred place for obtaining salt. The warriors in this group treat war as a serious religious matter and prohibit any use of their common names. They dance with war cries before battle, reserved for only the warriors. After a successful battle, they celebrate with a dance, where the scalps of enemies are displayed on poles. The warriors complete an initiation or test that requires them to accompany the war party to battle 4 times without complaining or speaking without permission. They act as simple servants and eat inferior food without complaint. Belonging to this group is a difficult challenge requiring more than just skill in horseback riding and weapon handling. Joining the Apache warrior group was no easy feat. Potential members had to pass difficult tests that evaluated their hard work, prudence, and bravery. However, even if a candidate passed all of these tests, one vote against them could deny entry into the group. Geronimo, a well-known Apache warrior, became notorious for seeking revenge against the Mexicans who massacred his family and tribe at 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 in 1858. Geronimo, whose birth name was 𝗗𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗖𝗓, was part of the 𝗵𝗏𝗀𝗁 tribe in Arizona, which had become sedentary and focused on farming. However, Geronimo's thirst for revenge drove him to become one of the most feared Apache warriors in history. It is unclear how Geronimo acquired his name, with some claiming it was due to his bravery and others attributing it to a mispronunciation of his name. Despite being wounded multiple times, Geronimo survived every battle and was believed to possess mythical powers. Geronimo devoted his life to attacking and sabotaging the Mexican army, resulting in the death of 500 to 600 Mexican soldiers. However, when the United States declared war on the Apaches in 1861, Geronimo's fight shifted to preserving his people and their way of life. The American army committed numerous atrocities against the Apache people, including killing women and children and forcing their chiefs to seclude themselves on reservations. Geronimo saw this as unacceptable and fought back, becoming a formidable opponent to the U.S. and ideological support for the Apache resistance. This war lasted for 10 years. In 1871, during a meeting where a truce was agreed upon, Apache military leader Geronimo was captured by the army and imprisoned for 4 months before being taken to the San Carlos reservation. In 1881, Geronimo and 375 Apaches escaped the reservation and caused havoc wherever they went. Despite evading Mexicans, Americans, and mercenaries for several years, Geronimo was eventually captured by General Crook in 1886. After surrendering, Geronimo lived 23 more years in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where he was celebrated at fairs and festivals. He passed away at the age of 80 after a drunken horse ride caused him to fall off and succumb to hypothermia. The Apache Wars were a result of the ongoing conflict between the Apache people and the U.S. forces that began in 1849. The confrontation claimed numerous lives on both sides. The U.S. aimed to take over as much territory as possible, while the natives fought for their survival and freedom. They attacked small towns and farms to obtain food and useful objects. The U.S. labeled them as savages and sought to tame them. This rivalry led to bloody battles and years of struggle for both sides. In 1846, at the start of the Mexican-American War, several Apache groups allowed the U.S. Army to pass through their territories to invade Mexico. This arrangement maintained a fragile peace until the arrival of gold miners in the Santa Rita Mountains, which led to conflict. The J-Guerrilla War erupted in 1849 when J-Guerrilla forces attacked and killed settlers. The attacks continued, prompting the U.S. Army to intervene. In 1861, Chief Cochise was arrested in Arizona by the U.S. Army on false charges of cattle theft and kidnapping. Despite offering to retrieve the child himself, the lieutenant in charge of the matter arrested Cochise and his family in breach of the white flag at the trading post. As a result of these provocations, both parties initiated assaults and seized hostages, ultimately resulting in the death of those captured. The execution of the prisoners by Lieutenant Bascom catalyzed the ensuing 11-year-long conflict characterized by anguish, violence, and treachery. One of the most significant events was the murder of the Apache chief known as 𝗵𝗂𝗓𝗄 𝗓𝗓 during peace negotiations, where the Americans detained, tormented, and killed him, then decapitated him and delivered his head to their allies. During the 1870s in the Arizona area, extreme violence was prevalent as evidenced by the massacre of 150 Apache individuals including men, women, and children, by a group consisting of Americans, Mexicans, and 100 Papagos warriors in 1871. This was just one of many bloody conflicts and massacres that occurred in the region, with the famous Apache leader Geronimo engaging in several battles until his surrender in 1886. The tribes eventually succumbed to the overwhelming force of the American military, resulting in their relocation to reservations. And that's for today. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the Apaches and their fight for survival in the Wild West? Do you believe their actions were justified, or do you think they went too far? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Thank you for watching Historical Records Punishment. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories and facts about cruel and unusual punishments throughout history. Stay tuned for our next video, and until then,